Welcome to PSA Squash Extra, where we bring you the latest highlights, news and features from inside the PSA World Tour. First up in February was a trip to Scandinavia as the tour headed to Linköping for the 2017 UCS Swedish Open. Scotsman Alan Klein was the tournament's early surprise package as he impressed in a 3-1 defeat of Miguel Rodriguez in round one, continuing the Colombian's recent slump in form. After injuries ravaged the quarterfinals with Daryl Selby and Mathieu Castagnet, both unable to take to the court, Alan Klein tested world champion Kareem Abdul-Gawad in the semi-finals but couldn't stop the world number 2.
3-1.
French general Gregory Gaultier did manage to stop the Egyptian though, winning the title decider 3-1 to lift his 4th Swedish Open title. Gawad had beaten Gaultier in January's Tournament of Champions final, but the 34-year-old halted Gawad's first major title defence in emphatic style, even recording an amazing 11-love bagel in the third game. It saw the Frenchman collect the 35th title of his career, and squash legend Jonah Barrington says Gaultier was right to close out the game 11-love.
Well, if I was being 10-love against Gawad, I would have been only too aware that a point given away could then end in a run from a player like that.
Yeah.
And I might well find myself in a tie-break in about 4.5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you would not give a point to Ramy Ashour if you were 10-love up on him.
No.
You wouldn't feel sorry for Ramy Ashour at that stage.
No.
You'd be thinking, I must get this next point.
Yeah.
There's one famous tale from 150 years ago with the great Heather Mackay, who was 9-0, 9-0, 9-0 in the final of the British Open Women's against an English, well, she was 9-9-8 with this English girl, and in a moment, an unlikely moment of weakness, she gave the English girl a point, and about 5 minutes later the girl was game ball against her. And,
wow.
and Heather pulled it back and won it. And she said to me, never, ever again would you do that. I mean, I did actually give my brother, my dear brother, a point when I played him in a tournament.
Well, you'd like to think you might do that,
because my coach, Nasrullah, insisted, but I was...
But that was because your coach insisted, not because your primitive instinct, otherwise
you...
you...
I was rather frustrated about it.
SQUASHTV went back to school in mid-February to cover the action of the College Squash Association men's and women's team championships at Harvard University and Princeton. An action-packed weekend of squash went down to the wire. It was Trinity who claimed the 2017 men's title. With Harvard taking up top honours in the women's class. More stateside action next as the road to Dubai made its latest stop in Chicago for the Windy City Open, where precious qualification points for the season-ending World Series finals in Dubai were on offer. There were shocks galore in Windy City, where the likes of Cameron Pilley, Tariq Momin, Ryan Kiskelly and Mathieu Castagnet all exiting in the first round. And the upsets continued with the Spanish bull El Toro scoring a massive victory to knock out the world champion Kareem Abdul-Gawad in the quarterfinals.
Match to Golan, 3 games to 1, 8-11, 11-4, 11-9, 11-9.
The win came the same day Marwan El Shorbagy secured his first ever win over big brother Mohammed, the world number 1, in an emotional family affair. Here's what Marwan said after the win.
It kind of hit me straight after I won, you know, kind of like when I throw my racket, this is the time I realized, well, I just beat my brother in a tournament, not in training anymore. So I thought this is real this time. And I kind of wanted to share it with him, but I couldn't. But he allowed me to share it with him, you know, when he hugged me, and of course I couldn't control my emotions at this time. And I mean, he's always been great to me. He's always helped me so much. I've always said it, like I'm here because of him. I'm here because of both of us are here. We have achieved whatever we have achieved is because of our families. So it's hopefully we're making them proud, you know. This is the most important thing for me.
El Shorbagy Jr. went on to reach his first ever World Series final, ultimately falling short against the French general Gregory Gaultier, the man of the moment. In the women's draw, Camille Serm's unbeaten run in 2017 came to an end at the hands of Noor El Shabini as the world #1 refound a recent form. But it was Raneem El Welily who completed a three-peat in Chicago to win the title for the third straight year. Gaultier's win in Chicago takes him up to third place on the road to Dubai standings, guaranteeing him a place in Dubai to defend his title. But it's still wide open for all the men from 4 to 16. In the women's standings, the top 5 are all but confirmed, with Alison Walters, Sarah Jane Perry and Noor El Taib in a tight three-way battle for the number 8 spot, with just one event remaining. One man who didn't feature in Chicago but is still in the hunt for a place in the coveted Dubai World Series finals is Nick Matthew. We caught up with a 36-year-old Wolf in New York.
Hi, I'm Nick Matthew, 36 years old, from England and 3 times world champion. The proudest moment in my squash career was holding the flag in the opening ceremony for Team England in the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. I've never been so nervous in my life, and the flag was very heavy. I'm happy when I'm injury-free, healthy and enjoying my squash. I get angry when I get to the supermarket or the gym and people have parked in a parent and child space and they clearly do not have any kids anywhere to be seen. When I'm on tour, I miss my family the most, my wife, Esme, my little girl Charlotte, and I wish it could be like in tennis and I could take them on the tour with me to every event and have them there with me, because it can get lonely sometimes when you're away on tour. I don't know if I have a favourite food, but my cheat meal, if I win a tournament, I go out for the biggest steak or burger known to man, and then sticky toffee pudding with ice cream to finish it off. My squash hero growing up was Peter Nicol. I've based a lot of my game on not just what he did on the court, but his professionalism off it too. I've always admired people who transcend their sport, and there's no greater than Muhammad Ali for that. I absolutely love Dubai as a city. I had such an amazing time there last year. The squash didn't go so well for me, but we stayed on for a holiday the week after and we had so much fun. I'm desperate to go back, take my family this time and show them what an amazing place it is. I can absolutely win the World Series this year. Why not? I'll be the oldest ever winner. It's a bit of a sort of a sore point of mine that I've not won that title before. I was in the final one year and the final didn't get played, so desperate to get my name on that trophy.
Another player set to compete in Dubai is Egyptian Raneem El Welily. The former world #1 put up a sterling defence of her 2016 Windy City Open title to book her place at the coveted finals. Our friends at Squash Skills took some time to analyse what makes El Welily so dangerous.
In this clip of Raneem El Welily, we see her using the space on the court really effectively. So she hits a great forehand drive, then a great cross court that gets in behind Laura, forcing a weak ball into the middle of the court. Raneem, as always, incredibly dangerous around the middle, cuts the ball in across the court using open racket face, lots of spin, lots of bite, leaves the ball short, forcing Laura to come to the court and leave the ball loosely in the middle of the court. Now, the really interesting thing about this shot here is that Raneem realises there's space in behind Laura and she wants to jump on it and get the ball into that space as quickly as possible. So she comes in and she jumps on the ball and rolls her racket face over the top of the ball. So if you see where her racket face is, she's actually hit the ball very flat and then rolled over with almost a little bit topspin, an effort to get the ball going into the back corner as quickly as possible. So think about what you're doing with your racket face, when you need to be cutting the ball, when you need to be putting behind spin on it, and then sometimes when you need to just hit the ball with a flat face to get the ball flying off the strings and flying off the front wall.
It's been a really tough month for injuries on the PSA World Tour. One woman who is well on the comeback trail is the New Zealand #1, Joelle King.
When I got injured, I was #4 in the world and starting to kind of feel like I was establishing myself and making a move on those next 3 places. So it was obviously a huge blow to have such a major injury. I think talking to people before I even got injured that have had major injuries themselves, you know, they all said it was kind of one of the best things that happened to them, and I didn't really understand that at the time until it happened to me. And I truly believe that everything happens for a reason. Obviously, you can't change what's happened and you've got to move forward, and having good support around me I think really helped. Probably one of the most frustrating times was coming back. It was very exciting at the start because, you know, my ranking had dropped so much, so every game was kind of exciting. Oh, I played well, I won that match, I beat that person, whatever. And then I got to a stage where all of a sudden I was back, say 11, 12 in the world, and the pressure's back on that people are expecting me to actually start winning matches again. And that was probably the hardest period, maybe 6 to 8 months ago, where I was really seriously thinking, am I ever going to get back to where I was? And once again, I think it comes back to the people that I'm surrounded by that just kept the faith and kept helping me to stay strong and just believe that I would get back there. And you know, now the last probably 6 weeks, I've had some really good, obviously not wins, but tracking in the right direction and really feeling like my game's starting to come together.
With over a dozen events taking place around the world, February was another busy month for the stars of the PSA World Tour. Hong Kong's Tu Feng Yip began the month in style, winning the biggest event of his career, the Holtron Open. Young Egyptian talent Yusuf Ibrahim also made the headlines for his performance in the Open d'Italia, coming through qualification to secure the win, the first of his career. That win sees Ibrahim climb a colossal 60 places on the world rankings. Here's a look at all the month's winners. They weren't all the winners on the PSA World Tour, as Kareem Abdul-Gawad secured top spot in the popular Shot of the Month competition for January. While at the top of the men's standings, James Wallstrop continues his resurgence, moving up to #6, the highest ranking for the Englishman since 2014. In the women's side, Camille Serm continues to close the gap on world #1, Nour El Shabini. While the British Open in March could have massive ramifications at the top of both the men's and the women's standings. And the action continues to come thick and fast on SQUASHTV in March, with the Canary Wharf Classic, the Ciudad de Floridablanca and the 2017 Alam British Open, all coming up. Get your tickets for the Alam British Open now to see the world's best players in the flesh for the 2017 edition of squash's oldest and most prestigious event. And to make sure you never miss any of the action, subscribe to SQUASHTV on YouTube now to see all the highlights, mega rallies and more. The College Squash Association that is a tonguer and a half. Ciudad de I can't even say it. Ciudad de Floridablanca.